The day Aunty Ngozi drove into their village in her big, air-conditioned Toyota Camry, everybody came out to watch. Children ran alongside the car. Old women pressed their palms together and praised God. Even the village head, Papa Chaku, stood at the edge of his compound and nodded with pride. But 12-year-old Adaeze stood at the doorway of her father's mud house, watching with a different kind of feeling in her chest, something between hope and fear, two things that had always lived together inside her like twin sisters. She did not know it yet, but that afternoon was going to change her life forever. She just did not know how. Adaeze Okonkwo was the first daughter of a poor palm wine tapper named Emeka Okonkwo and his quiet, hardworking wife, Mama Chidima. They lived in Umuahia, in a small compound with a leaking roof, 5 children, and a debt that never seemed to end. Adaeze was the brightest of them all, her teacher said so every time. She finished primary school with the highest scores in her class. Her headmaster, Mr. Ehejirika, had personally visited their home to beg her father not to let the girls' education die. But money was the problem. Always money. Then Aunty Ngozi arrived. Ngozi was Emeka's older sister who had moved to Lagos 15 years ago, married a contractor named Chief Boniface, and never looked back. She wore gold on her wrist, lace on her body, and spoke Igbo mixed with English the way rich people do, like the English words cost money to say and they wanted everyone to know they could afford it. "Brother," she said, sitting inside their small parlor, fanning herself with a handkerchief, "I have come to help. Let Adaeze come with me to Lagos. I will put her in a good school. Private school. Air-conditioned classroom. She will not suffer." Mama Chidima wiped her eyes with her wrapper. Papa Emeka cleared his throat many times before he could speak. "You will truly do this for us, Ngozi?" he asked. "Am I not family?" Aunty Ngozi replied, waving her hand like the question was an insult. 2 weeks later, Adaeze packed her one bag, hugged her mother who cried so hard the whole compound cried with her, and entered the back seat of Aunty Ngozi's car. She was 12 years old. Full of dreams. Full of trust. She did not know she was entering a cage with a golden door. Lagos hit her like a slap. The noise, the traffic, the millions of people moving like ants in every direction, it was nothing like Umuahia. Chief Boniface's house in Lekki was large and beautiful, with glass windows, a generator that never stopped, and 3 cars in the compound. Adaeze had never seen anything like it. But from the very first morning, things were not what she had been told. There was no school registration. No uniform. No private school with air-conditioned classrooms. Instead, Aunty Ngozi called her into the kitchen at 5 o'clock in the morning. "Adaeze, you will wake up at this time every day. Sweep the compound, mop the inside, wash the plates from last night, and prepare the children for school." Adaeze blinked. "Auntie, what about my own school?" Ngozi looked at her the way you look at something that has said something ridiculous. "School," she said slowly. "We will talk about school later. First, settle in. Learn how things work in this house." Later never came. Days turned to weeks. Weeks turned to months. Adaeze woke before the sun every day and slept after midnight every night. She cooked, she cleaned, she washed, she ironed, she babysat Aunty Ngozi's 3 children, Tebena, Samtechuku, and Little Precious, took them to school every morning and picked them up every afternoon, while she herself had never stepped foot inside a classroom since she left Umuahia. If she moved slowly, Aunty Ngozi shouted. If she forgot something, Aunty Ngozi threatened to send her back to her useless father. If she ever cried, she was told she was ungrateful. "Do you know how much your upkeep cost me in this house?" Ngozi would snap. "You are eating my food, sleeping under my roof, using my light. What are you giving me back?" "Nothing. This is your own contribution." Adaeze stopped crying after a while. Not because the pain went away, but because she decided crying was a waste of the little energy she had left. She started doing something else instead. She started reading. Tebena, Aunty Ngozi's first son, was in JSS 2. Every evening, his textbooks would sit on the dining table before Adaeze cleared it for dinner. Every evening, for just 50 minutes, sometimes less, Adaeze would read whatever page was open. Mathematics, English, basic science, social studies. It did not matter. She read everything. She started borrowing Tebena's old textbooks when he was done with them, telling him they were pretty and she liked the pictures. Tebena, who was not a bad boy, let her take them without telling his mother. Late at night, after everyone was asleep, Adaeze would read by the thin light that came under the kitchen door. She taught herself. She drilled herself. She graded herself. She had nobody, so she became her own teacher. 3 years passed this way. Then one Tuesday afternoon, everything changed. Adaeze had taken Tebena and his siblings to school as usual. On the way back, she passed a community education center she had noticed many times but never entered, the Stepping Stone Foundation, free education for underprivileged children and youth. Her heart beat hard. She stood at the gate for a long time. Then she walked in. The woman at the reception, a kind-faced woman named Mrs. Adogo Nwosu, looked up and asked, "Can I help you?" "I want to learn," Adaeze said simply. Mrs. Adogo studied her for a moment. "How old are you?" 15. Last school attended. Primary 6. Here. 3 years ago. Mrs. Adogo was quiet for a moment. Then she slid a form across the desk. "Fill this." Adaeze sat down and filled out every line in handwriting so neat and precise that Mrs. Adogo looked up twice to check if it was really this girl who had written it. She came to the center every afternoon, in the 1 hour between dropping the children and starting dinner. She told no one. She ran both ways to save time. She was always breathing hard when she arrived and always the last to leave. She was the most serious student Mrs. Adogo had ever seen in 20 years of running that center. When Adaeze was 17, the foundation organized a national scholarship examination, sponsored by a Lagos-based NGO that sent young brilliant Nigerians to study abroad. 50,000 students wrote the exam across the country. Adaeze came first. Full scholarship. University education in the United Kingdom. Everything paid. When Mrs. Adogo called to tell her the news, Adaeze stood in Aunty Ngozi's kitchen holding a phone she had borrowed and did not say a word for a full minute. "Adaeze, are you there?" Mrs. Adogo said. "I am here," Adaeze whispered. "I am here." The day Adaeze left that house, she packed the same one bag she had arrived with 5 years earlier. Aunty Ngozi stood in the parlor with her arms folded, not entirely understanding what was happening. "So you are just leaving? After everything I have done for you? You are just going like that?" Adaeze turned and looked at her aunt, really looked at her, for the first time without fear. "Auntie," she said quietly, "you promised me education. You did not give it to me. So I went and found it myself. Thank you for the roof. I wish you well." And she walked out. Today, Dr. Adaeze Okonkwo is one of the most respected medical researchers in West Africa. She runs a free health clinic in Umuahia, educates village girls on scholarship, and has built her parents a house with running water and a solid roof. Aunty Ngozi saw her on television once, being celebrated at a national award ceremony in Abuja. They say she turned off the TV and did not speak for the rest of that evening. Some people look at a seed and see something to step on. They never imagine it was always going to become a tree.